glorify Him, we classify Him, we praise Him, we testify that there is no other God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We testify that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger and prophet of Allah. Prophet Muhammad is neither the son nor the child of Allah, but the messenger and the prophet of Allah that was sent as shahidan, bashiran, wa naziran, وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. That's the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Almighty Allah continue to bestow His mercies on Prophet Muhammad and His mercies, His children, His entire household, His wives, and the entirety of the Muslim Ummah. Now, it is with great joy and happiness that I welcome each and every one of us to today's episode of our weekly webinar series. It's a webinar that, inshallah, exposes us into some germane issues. It tries to explain to us some controversial issues in Islam, whereby we bring on board scholars of high repute and reckoning that have been doing justice to several of these topics in the past. Today will not be an exception. We shall be having a scholar, an erudite one for that matter, that will be doing justice to another very interesting topic that, inshallah, I will be exposing to us in a team. My name is Abdul and I will be moderating to today's episode of the webinar. Inshallah, let me call on Al-Aj, Ms. Baudin or Alagunju for the opening prayer. Inshallah, Al-Aj Alagunju, kindly lead us in the opening prayer. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. We thank Almighty Allah. We appreciate, we glorify His name for keeping us alive at this moment. We appreciate Him for His blessings for us. For today's program, as we are commencing today's program, ask Almighty Allah to come along with us. We ask Him for success on today's program. What we're learning today, we ask Almighty Allah to make it beneficial to us, both on earth and in the hereafter. So for our lecturer, we ask Almighty Allah to be with him, to accompany him from the beginning of the lecture, the end of the lecture. We ask Almighty Allah to continue to give him strength, to continue to increase him in knowledge, and continue to bless his knowledge. Allahumma ya mu'allima Ibrahim alimna, wa ya fahima Sulaymana fahimna, Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'ana, wa anfa'na bima allamtana, wa zidna il sanukuruka fala tansa. Allahumma idina al-mustaqim, idina al-mustaqim. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. السلام عليكم. آمين.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you so much. Jazakumullahu khairan.
This meeting is being recorded.
Imam, thank you for that very brief and concise opening prayer. We pray Almighty Allah will reward you. Inshallah. Now, brothers and sisters, today's episode of the webinar has started, as we all know, 5 on the dot every Sunday. It's always the time for us to come on board together here to look at some very interesting and critical topics in our team. Today's episode is the last for the month of Ramadan, as we are aware that today is the 30th day in the month of Ramadan 1443. And today is the first day in the month of May. in the Gregorian calendar of 2022. So today is the first in the month of May and the last in the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, up next now we're supposed to be having our opening speech, opening address, opening remarks from our chief missioner. But for now, he's unavoidably absent. He has not joined. I'm sure he will join before the end of the program. Let's continue and let's go straight to why we are here. So I will not be wasting much of our time. Tomorrow is the day for our Eid, and we have a lot of preparations, have a lot of things to still do before the commencement of the Eid prayer tomorrow. So let's go straight to the reason we are converged today. We shall be treating the topic parenting and child upbringing for real success. Islamic point of view. Islamic point of view. Parenting and child upbringing for real success. Islamic point of view. And we have one of us to be doing justice to that topic. And that is in person of no other than our erudite our officer for National Party Society. To be the one doing justice to that topic. I will run through his introduction. Let me just introduce our guest lecturer to you. As you all know, is Raj Usman Adekunle Animashaun. He is from Lagos State, Lagos Island local government specifically. He's married and inshallah he attended several educational institutions. The latest being Math 6 Institute, Wherewan University, Rabat, Morocco. That he ended in July 2021. He had attended, or he is still a student at the Lagos State University. I'm sure that this was PhD. He also attended Lagos State University for his master's program. He had attended Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Training School in Lagos. He also attended University of Lagos, Akoka, where he graduated in 2000. He attended National Arabic School, Lagos. He attended Zimbabwe High School, Yaba. And for his primary education, he started and ended at Uncle Annie's Primary School, Akoka in Lagos. He had several academic qualifications. His credit, of course, is on his PhD, but he has completed his master's in education with a major in curriculum and instruction. Completed that in 2019. He also had a Bachelor of Arts, in education as well, major in Islamic education, with a second class honors, and he graduated with upper division. Yes, he has higher certificate in Islamic and Arabic studies as much as possible. He had worked in several institutions, several organizations, especially as a teacher. So even during his NYSC, he worked in the University of Lagos, Akoka, in the Department of Curriculum Studies. After his NYSC, of course, he joined the National Department Society headquarters as the Dawa officer. The portfolio he held in June 2012 till date. Yes, he has worked with several institutions, as I said, especially as a teacher, one time as head teacher, several times as a teaching staff, and even he worked in the University of Lagos, Akoka, Islamic program, teaching Islamic studies related courses. Our Dawa officer, who is our facilitator for today, has the hobby of reading. I never knew he likes sports, and he likes sports. I never knew that. And also he likes traveling. So there's a lot of things he's also engaged in, especially Islamic related. He's the chief imam of Al-Barika Central Mosque at Shomolu in 2000 today. Also, he has been and is still the auditor of Council of Chief Imams and Ulama, Shomolu Local Government, auditor Lagos Muslim Community, Ikeja Divisional Council. He's also the Assistant Secretary, Somon Animation Descendant Association in Lagos. He is presently the Secretary NASFAT Nation Board Legacy. He had a lot of publications with credits, and inshallah, he will be our facilitator for today's webinar lecture. Join me in welcoming to the microphone Al-Aj, Al-Imam Usman Adekunle Animashaun, and he will be talking to us on parenting and child upbringing for real success, Islamic points of view. Inshallah. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا يا شيخ.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الحمد لله. الحمد لله. I have to thank our moderator for today, Madam Abdul Ghaffar Adileye. May Allah reward you for reading the citation. I was just wondering whether this is me that they were talking about. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Inshallah. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على خير الأنام محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. Viewers at home, I say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to thank Nasrullah Party Society, now India Society, for this opportunity to share one's knowledge about the topic that we are discussing today: parenting and child upbringing. Parenting and child upbringing for real success, the Islamic point of view. Let us start with the end in mind. Just like we have learned from our dear Institute Tostan, find that we need to know why this topic, and that's why what we are also being taught at IET during our various TC trainings. Why this topic? You discover that this topic revolves around the child. And then all of us, at one point in our life or the other, we were children. We passed through this stage, and we had upbringing. Why this topic? Understanding this topic will let us understand the fact that it's important for us to know that human beings form a society. Human beings populate a community. And what is important in our community is the well-being of that community. If the community is not healthy, then there will be problem. And that's why we have problems all over the world. We have the problem has been caused by the failure in parenting and child upbringing. And especially because we are not targeting real success when we are talking about upbringing. What is real success? Abraham talks about who are successful. And you will also recollect, you will see that the topic we have been given a rider, which is Islamic perspective. We are talking about Islamic perspective. So when we are talking about real success, we want to look at what success is for point of the religion of Islam. And in chapter 23, from verse 1 to maybe around verse 12, Allah described those that are successful. When he said that قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, indeed the believers are successful. So when we are talking about real success, we are talking about success. We are talking about those that are successful. And we are talking about the believers. It is only the believers that can only achieve real. So the Quran has told us that the Quran went on to explain those that are successful. And he said that Allah did not the people. The first category of those that are successful are those that humble themselves in prayer. And again, walazina one in lagui moridun, those who avoid paying talk. Walazina hum lizakati fa'ilun, those who are active in deeds of charity. That's another description of those that are successful. Walazina hum lifurujihim hafizun. Again, those that are successful are those who have abstained from illegal sexual activities. Illegal sexual activities. Those are people that are successful. Then again, in the same chapter, verse 8, Allah says that those who faithfully observe their trusts and their covenants, those when they make promises, they fulfill their promises. And these are people that are successful. Again, in another portion of the Quran, chapter 26, verses 88 to 89, 88 and 19, Allah also gave the description of those that are successful when he said that wala tuksini yawma yub'athun yawma la yanfa'u malun wala banun illa man yatallaha biqalbin salim. The Quran says that the day whereon neither wealth nor sons will avail, that only he that will prosper, that will be successful, are those that brings to Allah is sound heart. In other words, the successful person is that person that has his sound heart, his qalb, his heart, his mind is free of debt. So the first thing we are trying to do is to establish what real success is. So real success is not building big houses. Real success is not having flashy cars, flamboyant cars. Real success is not having millions of dollars in your bank account. And we need to understand what real success is. Now again, when we are talking about real success, we are saying that parenting and child upbringing for real success, the Islamic point of view. In raising a child for real success, there are some steps that we have to take. There are some processes that we have to go through for us to be able to achieve that success. And the most important one, the most basic one, and the first one for that matter, is that person wants to raise a child must himself or herself has raised himself to be able to achieve real success. So, inshallah, we are talking about the person who wants to raise a child must him or herself be raised. He must have also achieved real success. How is that possible? You know, in the fact that if you don't have something you cannot give, you cannot give what you don't have, and it will be hypocritical. It will be a deceit if you want to raise a child for real success, and you yourself you have not raised yourself, you have not attained real success in your character. in your ways. In other words, if you want to be a successful person, if you want to raise a child for real success, if you want to be able to bring up a child, have an upbringing of a rich child, of a good child, you must yourself as being someone that has a sound heart, just like the Quran has described. Your qalb, your heart must be sound. You yourself must not be someone that does not observe his or her salat regularly. You must observe your salat regularly. For you to be able to achieve real success in the upbringing of parenting, upbringing of a child or parenting, as it were, you must have been able, you must be someone that, if you have the means, you must pay your zakat regularly. If you don't pay your zakat regularly, you can never achieve real success in the area of parenting or child upbringing. Again, we can also talk about for someone, that person who wants to raise a child for real success, want to be successful in parenting, must be someone that abstain from illegal sexual intercourse. Illegal sexual intercourse is something you have to abstain from. So we all know, if you look in the news now of recent, the news that has gone viral, the 10-year-old child, the 10-year-old girl that was involved in sexual activities at that tender age, and there is no shame. She's not even ashamed of that. And you want to look at why? Look at the fundamental, the root of that matter. What is the root cause of that child that has been involved in such a bad attitude, in such a vice, in such an illegal, in fornication, to say it as it is. The 10-year-old child involved in sexual activities. It is a failure of parenting. It is a failure of child upbringing, because the mother herself, rather, has not achieved real success. She herself, we all see in the news how the mother herself, she's also a slave queen, a slave mama, as they say it. And so if a girl child is involved in such a shameful activity, then you understand where the problem is coming from. So we are saying that someone that wants to bring a child, achieve real success in child upbringing or in parenting, must himself or herself be someone that is not involved in illegal sexual activities. Another thing is that for you to become a successful person in the area of parenting or child upbringing, you must be someone that abstains from not fulfilling obligations, not observing your trusts, not observing your promises, not fulfilling your promises. When you promise and you are not ashamed of breaking promises, breaking oaths that you have made, vows that you have made, then you cannot achieve real success. It's impossible, because you yourself, you have not achieved, you have not been able to prepare yourself. And we have been told that parenting, is a form of leadership. Leadership and all forms of leadership are very, very tough, very, very challenging. But parenting is the most difficult form of leadership. And for someone to be able to achieve success in parenting, achieve success in bringing up a child, then that person must, him or herself, have achieved real success, have been a successful person in some areas of life, in all areas of life. We are not talking about making money. You see that this for one to have is, or a child in Christland, for instance, that person must have achieved success in terms of wealth. But wealth is not enough to raise children. It's not enough. You yourself must have prepared yourself for that parenting challenge, for that upbringing challenge. It's very, because it's a very, very difficult thing. Now, that is the first stage. The second stage in achieving real success in parenting is that of selection of the right spouse. If you yourself, you are good, if you yourself, you are someone that you don't tell lies, you fulfill your promises, you observe your salat regularly, and so on and so forth. Then the next stage is for you to ensure that you have the right spouse. You have the selection of the right spouse. And there are so many things you have to consider when you are choosing a spouse. In your selection of spouse, there are so many things that you have to consider, because this is a task. Parenting is a very, very tough task, a difficult one for that matter. And you cannot do it alone. A man cannot do it alone. A woman cannot do it alone. Parents cannot do it alone. There are so many people that are involved. The father has his role to play. The mother has a role to play. The community has its own role to play. The government has its role to play. The school has its own role to play. But today, parents, they leave everything to the hands of the school to play the role. That's why we are having deformity in raising children. So, but in Islam, we have been told that there are some things that we have to consider when we are selecting a spouse. It is important for us to see that number one is, the first thing is righteousness. The person, the opposite partner, your partner that you are selecting, is he righteous? Is she righteous? That is very, very important. Because if you are good, you are righteous, your partner is not righteous, then there will be problem. The children will become confused. There will be contradictions. There will be so many contrasts in raising the child. And the child will be confused as, should I follow what my father is saying? Or should I follow what my mother is saying? But if both of you are righteous, then if a man, the father is saying something, and the child will go to his mother to ask her, this is what my father said, the mother should reinforce what the father has said, if both of them are righteous. I remember an incident in the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad. A companion went to the Prophet to seek his counsel on an issue. And the Prophet advised, this is what to do. This is what you have to do. The companion now went to Umar Ibn al-Khattab, asking the view of Umar on that particular issue, telling him that this is what the Prophet said, but what is your own view? Then Umar said, you want to know my view? Okay, just hold on. You want to know my view? Umar stood up. He went inside the room and he picked his sword and came out. As the man saw him coming out with his sword, the man picked grace. He ran away. Umar said, why don't you wait for me? The Prophet has told you something. He has given you a counsel. He has advised you. You are now coming to me to ask, do you want me to say something that is wrong? You want to say something that will contradict what the Prophet has said? No. And the Quran has said, وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. That is wrong. The Quran has said that it is wrong for a believer, if truly you are a believer, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided on an affair, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has also decided on such affair, it is wrong, totally prohibited for that believer to now say, no, I will not take the Prophet's advice. I will not take Allah's advice. I want to take my own personal advice. Is wrong. That is stated in Quran. You go to Quran chapter 24, you find it there. So the first thing is that if you are righteous in selecting your partner, you have to select a righteous partner. Then again, when you're selecting a partner, select someone that attracts you, that you love when you see. All these things count. When you see someone, love is very, very sweet. Just like my teacher of blessed memory, Sheikh Abdul Hakim Abayomi, we see that brother, find a sister and marry her. Sister, find a brother and marry him. Marriage is sweet. Marriage will only be sweet if you have a woman, a wife that you are attracted to, or you have, as a woman, you have a husband that you are attracted to. Attraction is very, very important. And we have a hadith that we can make reference to here. On the authority of Jabir ibn Abdullah, the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if one of you proposes marriage to a woman, if he can look at her to see that which will encourage him to go ahead and marry her, then let him do so. Hence, that's what the Prophet Muhammad said. So it is better to say that you find that thing which will make your heart scintillate whenever you see your spouse. That is very, very important. We are talking about attraction. You must see something in your wife that will make her attractive. You must see something in your husband that will make him attractive. Number 3, in what you do in selecting your spouse. Don't forget, we are saying that selection of spouse is the second stage in the upbringing of in getting to achieve real success in parenting or in upbringing. I'm also saying that this is from the Islamic point of view. Number 3 is uprightness in character. Just as a Muslim is synonymous to submissiveness to Allah, so is being Muslim inseparable with excellent character. That is why when you in the Quran, when Allah says Alladhina amanu, those that have faith, what comes as the twin statement you will always see is Wa'amilu Solihan. Good deeds. It's always there. So the Prophet Muhammad said that among Muslims, the most perfect as regards his faith is the one whose character is excellent. And the best among are those who treat their wives well. This is very, very important for us. Character. Then another one is good lineage. You recollect that the Sharia of Islam aims at protecting human beings from I think 5 or 6 things, 5 things, and one of them is the things are protection of life, protection of the intellect, and protection of lineage. So when you want to select your spouse, you must have in mind that you want to raise children for real success, and you want to consider the lineage of your wife, you want to consider the lineage of your husband. And one hadith of the Prophet Muhammad says that Tunkahu limaria liaribain, that human beings, they marry because of 4 things. Lijamaliha, because of beauty, limaliha, because of the wealth, liasabiha, because of his lineage, wadiniha, because of the deed. because of his religion. And the Prophet says, Aleka with that day. This important, it is compulsory. I am admonishing you that when you are marrying, marry someone because of it. We take as the most important thing. The most important thing you have to take is that of his religion. But Prophet is not condemning the other things. You might marry because of wealth. You might consider wealth of your partner. You might consider his lineage or her lineage. You might also consider his beauty or handsomeness. It's nothing bad. But the Prophet is emphasizing the. So it's important for us when selecting a spouse to do what? To look at the dignity. That's also very, 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 very important. Then friendliness and mercy. Again, I want to already said marriage is sweet. But it can only be sweet if you marry your friend as a wife, you marry your friend as a husband. Your home must be sweet. Your home must be interesting. Your children must be must enjoy your family. They must be happy to have you at home. And then with all modesty, I want to make a reference to an issue. Yeah, it's a personal one. That's why I'm asking for apology. When my first child, I still recollect the first time he had the word clown. He was asking, I was joking with his mom. And I said, boy, you see, this your mother, she's a clown. And he was quick to ask that, Daddy, what is the meaning of a clown? And I said, okay, go and bring your pictorial dictionary. When he brought it, he opened it. I said, go to clown. I taught him how to open the dictionary. I said, he opened it and saw clown. Then he saw that diagram of what a clown looks like. And he said, no, that is you that is a clown. This is how you do. This is how when you, at times when you gesticulate, when you perform your action, this is how you do it. You make us laugh. And I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah. A father is someone that when you come in, make your children are happy to see you. Your children are happy to welcome you. When you are away, they miss you. They want you to be back. So you marry your friend as a wife, marry your friend as a husband. All these things will bring your house must not be a battlefield. A woman, a wife, must not be going through the phone, checking the WhatsApp, checking the emails of our husband, seeing who has called him, and so on and so forth. One of the problems we have in marriages today is for women. They don't want their husband, especially Muslims, they don't want their husband to take more than one wife, which again is wrong Islamically. And some women, they will now be going to the extent of checking the emails, selecting mails of their husband, checking the WhatsApp, checking the messages, SMSs, who has sent you message, who is this or that. And it is wrong for you. Women, what you are supposed to be doing, the way you should relate to your husband is the way you are relating to your child. And the way you are relating to your child is the way you are supposed to be relating to your husband. In other words, you must love your husband and train your child. But today, where we have problems in our marriages is because we are women, wives are taking it the other way around. They want to train their husbands. You see that you will tell your husband what to do at the age of 30, 35. Ashekhu la yetiruku akhalaqahu hatta yuwara fi sara rumsi. At the age of 30, 35, 40, a man is made. You are not the one that will train him. You can't change him. except he is involved in some vices that are grievous. And the Quran has told us that you can divorce a man, you can divorce a wife. Illa an yatina bi fahishatin mubayyinat. Except that for grievous sins in Islam, you can still manage yourselves. If your husband is not a drug dealer, he's not a womanizer, he's not someone that is someone is not an armed robber, a kidnapper, so all those things, if you can still manage. But your family, your home must be somewhere that is impressed. You do not turn your home to a battlefield. So wives, make your husbands your friends. Husbands, make your wife your friends. So because all these things have effects, serious repercussions on the children, psychologically, mentally, and so on and so forth. So if you really want to raise your child for real success, what is important is that you do have to, at the point of selection of your spouse, someone that you want to be, you want that to be the mother of your child, or someone you want to be the father of your child. That person must be your friend. You must be able to laugh, must be able to eat together, dine together. And in fact, may Allah bless my sheikh, Abdul Hakim Abayo. He said that, brother, if you and your wife, you are not putting food in the mouth of each other, then something is wrong with both of you. So you should be friends. You must find someone that you are friends. You must create that atmosphere of friendship. There is no marriage that wants to work. You have to make it work. You just have to make it work. Except you are having issues that are life-threatening. And that is why when we have violence, domestic violence, we have seen husbands that have been murdered. There have been wives that have been killed in their marriages. Of recent, we have about, what's the name of that gospel singer, Osinachi or something, murdered by her husband. You have seen men that have been murdered. So it's not just about violence against women and child. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. So, and they have to be very, very careful as husbands and wives. So we are talking about the issue of selection of the right spouse when you are selecting your spouse. It's another stage in the process of trying to raise a child, in the process of child upbringing. Then again, we have some principles that will assist us in raising our child for resources. Number one is that we should always remember that children are born pure. They are born pure. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that no child is born except on al-fitra. Kullu mawludin yuladu ala fitratil Islam illa min abawayhi yuhawidanihi aw yunashiranihi aw yumajjisanihi. That children are born pure, but it is only their parents that we make them Jewish, Christian, or Magian. And just like as an animal produces a perfect young animal, you never see a child born, a body amputated. So a child is born pure. And when children are born pure, just like we talk about tabula rasa, a clean slate, they learn from you, the father or the mother. You cannot say you are instructing your children, oh, go and pray when it's time for prayer. No, you yourself, you have to pick the kettle, perform ablution, spread the mat, and they will see you do it. They learn by seeing, and that's very, very key. The second thing, principle is that we should understand that parents are guides and role models. When children are young, they are still in the process of learning. They learn what is right and what is wrong, and the correct way to behave in their environment. It is the parent's responsibility to teach the child how to do this, how to choose his environment, and decide which type of people to build that environment with. We all have our environment, our personal space. Excuse me. And we should know the type of people that want to put in that personal space, so that Prophet that has told us it is our responsibility as parents to see ourselves as guides and role models. We see ourselves as guides and role models. Prophet Muhammad has described us that we are like shepherds. We are responsible for our flocks. They are these. Let me read the hadith. Allah's Messenger said that every one of you is a guardian and is responsible for his charges. The ruler who has authority over people is a guardian and is responsible for them. A man is a guardian of his family and is responsible for them. A woman is a guardian of her husband's house and children and is responsible for them. A slave is the guardian of his master's property and is responsible for it. So all of you are guardians and are responsible for your charges. So this is the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad telling us, giving us another principle of parenting, child upbringing for real success. We must see ourselves as guides. We must see ourselves as role models, because our children, they are going to learn from us. And in philosophy, I think it was a Greek philosopher that said that it's better to be unborn than to be untaught. It's better not to bring a children into this world. To bring a children into this world, rather than bringing their children and not training that child. And it is the first responsibility falls on the parents to bring up the child, not the society, not the school, not the community, not the government. The family, the parent, the father, the mother, they have the first responsibility to bring up the child. So we look at another example, another principle rather, of bringing up a child. We should know where you should draw the line for your children. Even as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us boundaries that we should not go beyond this. You will recall the episode of Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah told him that eat, drink, eat from all these that are in the garden. Wala tekirabaha bi ishajara. Do not go near this tree. I have allowed you and permitted you to eat from all the trees in the garden. But you should not eat from this particular tree. That is setting boundaries. Allah has given us a lot of food on this earth. Eat this, eat that, eat that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also set boundaries for us in what we can consume. Do not drink alcohol. Do not drink pork. Do not eat pork. Setting boundaries. In the same way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set boundaries for us. Yes, we can engage in sexual intercourse, but not in illegal one. We can do businesses, but not in dealing with drugs, in usury, taking interest, and so on and so forth. So, as parents, we must also set boundaries for our children. We must set boundaries for our children. There's a prophet tradition that can make reference to when Allah says that in Allah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that in Allah ta'ala faraido fala tudayyi'uha wa hadda hududan fala ta'taduha wa harrama ashiyaha fala tahtafuha fala tantahafuha wa sakata an ashiya rahmatan bikum ghayra nisyan fala tabatu anya hadithun hasanun rawahu Daraqutni. So these are these as lend credence what we have said, that we should set boundaries for our children. Let them know when you are angry. Let them know that this is what they can do, this is what they cannot do. Give them boundaries, set boundaries for them. Now, again, another principle that will help us in achieving real success in parenting or child upbringing is that of the fact that we have to be kind and merciful. We must understand that the essentials of upbringing are kindness and mercy. Prophet Muhammad is always merciful with his children and his grandchildren. And there was this episode when Haidar Hassan Hussein, one of his grandchildren, climbed on his back when the Prophet Muhammad was observing Salah. In fact, he was on sujood. And Hassan, or was it Hussein, climbed on his back, and the Prophet allowed him to play. He was there on the sujood of prostration for a very long time. And later, the boy got down. When the boy got down, the Prophet now raised his head from sujood to sit down to complete his salat. And after he completed his salat, the companions will also always ask questions. And they now asked him, "Oh, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you prostrated very long during the prayer. You prostrated during prayer for so long that we thought that something had happened or that you are receiving a revelation." The Prophet responded, "No, no such thing happened. But my son was riding on my back, and I did not like to disturb him until I had enough of that enjoyment he was having on my back." So, children, parents, when you come back from your office, come back from your outing with good things that you can give your children. Let them see you as someone they can play with. Not that when you are coming, when they hear the horn of your car, they are not scampering, they are running. No, it shouldn't be like that. You should be a father, your children. When they hear that you are back, they want to come and meet you, they want to come and hug you. Kindness is very, very important as one of the principles that will help us in child upbringing and getting parenting, getting it right. Finally, I want to look at one more principle, is that you must start giving your children responsibilities. Give small responsibility for the small children to make it big. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given us everything that we want in this world. Let us look at the episode of Maria, the mother of Jesus Christ, alayhi salatu wasalam. She got pregnant easily, free of charge, if I may use that expression. Then she delivered her baby also easily. And at the point of the fact that she was hungry or thirsty, Allah had that opportunity. Allah has that power to say, okay, that palm tree, the dates on it should just come down, come and meet her. No, Allah did not do that. Allah tasked her. Allah instructed her that shake the tree. At least make efforts. You make efforts, then the dates on the palm tree will now fall down for you to eat. So that is the essence of hard work. That is the essence of making efforts. Allah will not give you everything. You have to strive. You should remember that. You should remember that nothing will come for human beings except what we strive for. So we have to strive. So in teaching our children this striving, making effort, you have to start giving them responsibilities as when they are kids. Also chores like sweeping, like washing plates, like cooking, like arranging their house, domestic activities, and trust them with them. Ask them to do them. Don't let them be lazy. Teach them the dignity of hard work, the dignity of labor. And when you see that they are deviating, scold them. Let them know they are wrong. Today, where we have children, where we have people kidnapped, where we have kidnappers in society, children, people involved in kidnapping, young ladies involved in prostitution, and the prostitution has gone to a very shocking level. Bestiality, what we have not heard of in our own country. Ladies having sexual intercourse with dogs. Subhanallah, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Because of money. And after an episode, they collect 1.5 million, 2.5 million, and later they contract diseases, and after the diseases, they die. And they can't even spend that money. They don't enjoy the money. This is largely because of the failure in parenting and it is largely a failure of parenting, because children, when they start exhibiting such attitudes, such behaviors, you must quickly tell them. You must quickly let them know what they are doing is bad. When they come home with big cars, they come home with money, you must ask them, where did they get that money from? And in Yoruba we say, ọmọ yóò ṣàgbàfọ̀, ó ń káṣọ wálé, ẹrújú olè ẹ̀ mú. When children become lazy, they don't want to work, it is the duty of the parents to let them know that, no, you have to work hard. Education is important, irrespective of the fact that many people are educated, they have certificates, they are not getting work. No, that doesn't mean that they don't have to go to school. So I want to stop there today, but I want to encourage us that all parents, it is very, very challenging. Parenting is challenging. Child rearing is very, very tough, especially in this environment that we are in Nigeria. But we continue to strive hard and continue to pray to Allah. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Allahu Akbar. Imam Abdul Ghaffar.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank our facilitator, who is also our that officer in our great society, National Party. Also the secretary to the National Mission Board of our society. We appreciate him. We are not, well, anyway, we were not expecting anything less from our facilitator. We know him and we know he's an erudite scholar of note. We know uh, his area of competence is in what he has just done. So, inshallah, what we need to do is just to continue praying for our Imam, for Allah to increase him in knowledge, Almighty Allah to continue to elevate him, to continue to uplift him, and to continue to grant him long life so that we can continue to enjoy some of his experiences, knowledge, and exposure as he gets down. We know that you can do more if you have a luxury of time, but because we don't have much time, so we have to just allow him to summarize this. And I'm very sure that majority of us have gained from all we have heard from him today. Okay, let's see if we have questions so that we'll do justice to the questions, inshallah. I'm sure the officer is ready to do justice to the question. We're expecting our questions to be sent to the Q&A box. So, but if we don't have them there, it shows that perhaps, perhaps there are no questions. Perhaps there are no questions. Okay, okay. Our facilitator, we cannot thank you enough.
I
Let me
think
call on
there's
the
a question in
chairman.
the chat box. There's a question in the chat
There's a
box.
question in the chat box.
To save our time, I will just quickly look at it. The question says that who is an ideal spouse, an ideal Muslim spouse. I think this has also been addressed in our during the talk, but I want to make more emphasis on it. An ideal Muslim spouse is what we all need to achieve real success in parenting. And the truth of the matter is that no one is born with everything. In fact, even the first man on earth, the first human being, he had to be taught. Allah taught him. So, if you are a Muslim and you are going into marriage, you need to understand what marriage is all about. And learning is a lifelong affair for Muslims. You continue to learn, see where you have made mistakes, and correct them. We are not saints. Brother, your wife is not a saint. Sister, your husband is not a saint. We all look for the ideal spouse. We want that ideal Muslim, ideal wife, ideal husband. And that, are you really the ideal Muslim spouse? An ideal Muslim husband? As a wife, are you really an ideal Muslim wife? And those of you that are mothers and fathers, one question that normally asked is that, hey, you are a father and you have a daughter. Can you pray that your Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should give your daughter the type of husband, a husband that will just be doing the same way, behaving the same way you are behaving with your wife, mother of your daughter. Mother, you have sons. Can you pray in all sincerity, in all honesty, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should give you a wife? She'll give your son or your sons the type, someone like you, the way you are relating with your husband, someone that's a wife that relates in such manner with your wife. With your son. If you can do that, Famarhaba, Barakallahu fi. May Allah bless you. But if not, start changing your ways. So an ideal Muslim spouse is someone that will have can be defined, that has such characters that Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in chapter 23. He is truthful, he is honest, he observes salat regularly, he is kind, he is merciful. And so then the wife too, she is kind, she is merciful, she observes salat, she fulfills her promises. She is not someone that will, when the husband talks, she just say, in the presence of the children. Father, the best gift you can give to your children is to be a responsible husband to your wife. That's the best gift you can. It's not all these things we buy. It's not even the expensive schools that we take our children to. Be a responsible husband to the mother of your children. Why? The best gift that you can give your children is to be a good wife to the husband, to your husband, the father of your children. And Prophet Muhammad summed it up that ad-dunya mata'. I love this hadith a lot. Wa khayru mata'i dunya al-mar'atu salihah. Prophet Muhammad said that this world is full of enjoyment. It's full of pleasures. It's full of different forms of pleasure. But the best pleasure, the best form of enjoyment that you can have is a righteous wife. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like having a good wife. There's nothing like having a righteous wife. There's nothing like having a good husband. There's nothing like having a righteous husband. If you have a righteous husband, alhamdulillah. And someone said, a cynic, said that we all have shaitan. We all have shaitan following us about. But when a man gets a bad wife, shaitan has settled him. Shaitan needs not follow that person all about it. So when a woman gets a bad husband, shaitan will not follow her about him. She has settled him. Just like the Igbo people, when they are apprentices, when they learn trade under their masters, at the point in time, the master will now settle the apprentice, give him money to go and be on his own. So there won't be any need for him to follow, to look at what the apprentice is doing again. He himself. So in the same way, when someone has gotten a bad wife, Shaitan will settle that person. No need for Shaitan to meddle in his affairs. So the same thing our husband. We pray that our children, we pray that our husbands, our wives will be sources of coolness to our eyes. May Allah accept it. Thank you. Moderator.
Thank you very much.